Igor Kolomoisky emigrated to Israel in connection with the growing interest from the FBI. Growth in world steel consumption in the coming years, the forecast of the World Association. The United States is intending new sanctions against Iranian corporations. Arcelormittal is ready to pay $1 billion in order to buy Essar Steel. You are watching Metal News, review for the week. The program is supported by the Techenergoprom group. World consumption of steel in 2018, as expected, will grow by 3.9% in comparison with 2017 to 1,657.9 million tons, said Gumran Al-Ramezi, chairman of the Economic Committee of the World Steel Association, said. According to the World Steel forecast, in 2019, steel consumption in the world is expected to grow by 1.4% to 1,681.2 million tons. In 2017, world steel consumption increased by 5% compared with 2016, up to 1,595.4 million tons. China continued to close most of its outdated induction furnaces in 2017, a category which was not captured in official statistics. While nominal steel demand growth in China in 2018 is expected to reach 6%, the dynamics of steel-using sectors suggest growth of 2% in real terms. As happened in October 2017 short-range outlook, the disparity comes from underestimation of 2017 steel use that had been supplied by the illegal induction furnaces. Ramezi added that in 2018, global steel consumption continues to show support thanks to a recovery in investment activity in developed economies and an improvement in developing economies. The United States is intending new financial sanctions against a number of Iranian corporations and banks, accusing them of providing financial support to one of the paramilitary groups. The largest producer of rolled steel in the country, Mubarak Steel Company, MSC, also appeared in the sanctions list. On October 16, the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control decided to impose sanctions of 22 corporations with interests in the automotive sector, mining and steel and financial institutions, many of which serve significant business flows in the Middle East and Europe, reported in the official statement. OFAC justifies its decision by the participation of these defendants in the financial support of the Basij. As a result of new restrictions, all property on the territory of the United States and the interests of companies included in the sanctions list should be blocked, as well as operations with it. In addition, individuals and financial institutions that conduct transactions or provide any related financial services for such enterprises will also be subject to sanctions. The Treasury calls on international companies to ensure that they act accordingly to avoid sanctions, the statement said. MSC is rather reticent about its OFAC decision. We are under sanctions and do not conduct large-scale trade with European and American companies. Thus, it will be absolutely not affect our activities, noted in official letter of the Deputy Department of Finance and Economy of the company. American steel production for the reporting week amounted over 1,881,000 tons, and production capacity was used at 80.2%. Steel production in the United States last year amounted to 1,705,000 tons, and production capacity was used at 73.2%. Thus, the current production figures showed an increase of 10.3% from last year and an increase of 1.6% from the previous. Igor Kolomoisky moved from Geneva to Israel. Kolomoisky has not appeared in Switzerland for more than a month, and he transferred all his business and private meetings to Israel. The decision to move both planned and spontaneous at the same time, a source close to the oligarch said. Last year in December, a London court arrested a part of the property of a Ukrainian oligarch as a part of lawsuit on a nationalized private bank. After that, he realized that sooner or later he would have to leave Europe. The danger of being in Geneva was associated with a request from the FBI, which was provoked by businessman Vadim Shulman, a former partner of Kolomoysky, and businessman Igor Bogolubov. Back in 2007, Shulman filed a lawsuit against his former partners in a London court, trying to prove that Kolomoysky and Bogolubov stole $500 million. He was also misinformed from the beginning of their joint relationship with the purchase of the southern mining and processing plant in Dnipropetrovsk region and the Dnipropetrovsk Metallurgical plant of Petrovsky. London courts did not satisfy the statement of the plaintiff, and Schulman complained to the United States authorities, emphasizing that Kolomoisky laundered the stolen money in the United States. Kolomoisky has a lot of real estate property and a ferroalloy plant in the USA. So the American law enforcement agencies got involved as sent a paper of Switzerland to extradition an oligarch. Kolomoisky sat out until the moment they began to consider the document. No one knew until the end whether he would be extracted or not, but the lawyers gave him a warning and he left. According to eyewitnesses, now Kolomoisky is equipping his life and business in Israel. He rented a house and office space in Herzliya. Leads a democratic way of life. As in Switzerland, he works unguarded and independently drives behind the wheel of a budget Ford. Moved some people from Geneva and small partners who are generally not enthusiastic about such vital perturbations. Moreover, the office in Switzerland Kolomoisky does not close. The Indian government will not reduce steel production despite the fact that excessive steel production in the world is a problem. India is the second largest steel producer in the world. Although China has reduced steel production, India has more than doubled its focus on increasing steel production. The Indian government planned to have 300 million tons of steel capacity as steel consumption grew by 7.9% in the previous 2 years. Steel capacity of 300 million tons and about 260 million tons of products will be in India in the period from 2030 to 2031. The Indian government has set an ambitious goal to turn India into a world-class country. It will cost India about $25 billion to import equipment by 2030-2031. The Arcelormittal company announced its willingness to pay 74.7 billion rupees to the creditors of 2 Indian companies, whose shareholder it was until spring of this year, in order to qualify for the acquisition of Essar Steel, the 4th largest steel producer in India. A month earlier, the Indian Supreme Court decided that Arcelormittal must solve the question with the debt of 2 companies, Uttam Galva Steels and KSS Petrom. The Russian VTB Bank is also participating in the fight for the Indian Essar Steel. Arcelormittal has filed the bid with the Japanese Nippon Steel and Sumitomo Metal Corporation and amounts of approximately 490 billion rupees or $6.66 billion. You are watching Metal News. Indicative prices for the current positions by the end of the reporting week look like this. You have watched the weekly review of Metal News. Your subscription to the channel and clicking on the bell will allow you to be aware of the main events of the total metal market every week.